Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and also tells you how to uncall your hits. Yeah, I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and I'll be explaining that one here in a little bit, but first I want to get into the fact that I actually got out and got to play some Airsoft this weekend. Went out to Insane Airsoft in Chattanooga, kind of impromptu. It was a real rainy day here on Sunday, and a couple buddies of mine packed up the car and made the drive, and I forgot how much fun playing indoor was. Had a blast. Got to run my Crytek CRB, and actually a combat environment. It's one thing I haven't had a chance to really do is put it through the paces of a lot of my other guns I have. That was a fresh one, and it performed fantastic. And I may be doing some gameplay footage video of it as well. Oh, also ran the PO9 from ASG, the CZ PO9, and that little pistol is a hand cannon. I was running the CO2 mags in it, and man, it is loud, it shoots hard, under field limits, thank goodness, and it shoots really straight. I had such a good experience with that pistol. I got a ton of kills with it. Also, I got some whelps to match, so I'm not immortal, trust me. I get hit, I give, and I get. And also caught a cheater on camera, and it wasn't really until I went back and looked at my footage I saw it, uncalling their hit to get a kill. So stay tuned. I know you guys have seen, I did a previous Airsoftology cheaters caught on camera video. I don't really like to do these too much because, you know, hey, I don't like to call other people's hits out. I mean, I don't know if I'm actually shooting. It's your responsibility as a player to call yourself out. That's the sport. But this one on camera, it was an uncall your hit just to get a kill, and it was pretty rotten. In hindsight, I was a little hot when I watched it last night, but it'll be good out there for your enjoyment. But enough about the videos I have going on. I did want to tell you one more thing before we get into questions though. I will be on tonight, I think it's 1000M Chief channel on YouTube. We're doing a live hangout with him and the Florida Airsoft Group guys. Gonna be on tonight on YouTube, and tonight being the 13th, October 13th, 2014. So head over to his channel. It's 1000M Chief is the YouTube channel, and I believe it starts at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time in US, so whatever that translates to you. So I'll be on that this evening. If you guys want to get some live questions on the show, I'm sure they'll take them from the audience. But yep, that's it. We're done, and now it's time for your questions. Niglater writes, what about for CO2 power guns? Is it safe to leave a 12-gram cartridge in a mag? Now, if the context of that question was a little off, it's in response to the green gas, leaving green gas in your mag, in your pistol mags, for example, or rifle mags when you store them, and how important that is to keep the O-rings intact. On 12-gram CO2 cartridges, though, I'm going to tell you the opposite advice, and I say drain them, take them out, don't leave them under pressure. CO2 is under a ton more pressure than green gas. The PSI, I forget the numbers, but it's like, I think it's like 130 PSI on green gas, and it's like in the 600, 800 maybe PSI on CO2. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me what the number is. I'm just going off memory here. You don't want to leave that in there. That's a lot of pressure for those seals, and over time, I think you're going to be putting a lot of undue stress on those seals, leaving it full. So when you're done playing, I know it seems kind of wasteful, but go ahead and drain those 12-gram cartridges out of your guns. Or if you put CO2 in a reservoir, you're like feeling you have CO2 mags, or you use a CO2 charger, you want to go ahead and drain those out as well. Bing Cobra writes, is it okay to charge my batteries right after a skirmish, or should I wait until a little before the next one to charge? My problem is that sometimes we will randomly do a skirmish. All right, so it depends on the battery you're looking at here. For a LiPo, it's not a problem. Actually, I top mine off when I'm done with them. LiPos really do a fantastic job of holding their charge. I'll always check them before I go to the next game, and I've got a little balance charger, a little device that I can plug the battery into, and it shows me the voltage levels, so I know if they're charged or not. I have one or two that seem to kind of leak, I guess, when they store away, but for the most part, my LiPo batteries stay charged up. Now, nickel metal hydride, totally different story here. They do tend to lose their charge as you store them. It depends on how long they're stored. If it's just a couple days between games, no problem. Go ahead and top that sucker off when you're done playing, and it's ready for you. If it's a week or two though between games, you're probably going to see that battery start to discharge itself on its own, just kind of sitting there. So those you're probably going to want to throw in the charger and just top back off. And remember, use a smart charger. That way it'll just top it off and fill it right back up to the top, and it'll do it much quicker than one of those standard wall chargers do. James Snowy writes, I have a question. In all-around CQB and field, what's the best secondary you would recommend? Submachine gun, pistol, shotgun, etc. For the primary, I usually run something on the shorter side just so I can kind of pie the corners a little better and actually maneuver. For a secondary, for me, for CQB, I almost exclusively run a pistol. The maneuverability for me with the pistol to be able to tuck around corners, to present myself in the smallest amount, I mean literally just peek around the corner with that pistol so it's just part of my head and just the firearm and maybe my knuckles are sticking out, to me is really important. Also, it allows me to shoot offhanded, my left hand, my weak hand, very easily if I need to, or if I'm running like a grenade like I did this last weekend playing at Insane, I ran impact grenades, to be able to manipulate that grenade and get it working and still be able to defend myself while playing. I think anything bigger than a pistol for me personally, it gets a bit unwieldy and it prevents me from doing a few of those extra things that I want to be able to do, and I end up getting shot. CQB is a fast environment. You don't have the time sometimes that you do in a skirmish or especially in a milsim op to be able to take calculated steps. So for me, pistol's awesome. Not saying any of the rest are bad, that's just what works for me. Chase Edward writes, what's your favorite helmet, John, if I may call you that? If your favorite's a fast helmet, then what's your second? So my favorite helmet actually isn't a fast. I used to really like my fast, but my new favorite is now the Team Wendy, and this is their bump, their Exfil bump, TLP I think is what it's called. Runs about the same price as the OpsCore itself, and I really enjoy this helmet. I think it's a great one. It's comfortable. The pad system they use in this is a lot better, in my opinion, than the OpsCore. It's much more comfortable. It uses a little more traditional pads like you'd find on a real ballistic helmet, and I think that is the winning feature, and I'll try to open it up here so you guys can see the tan and black pads in there. They're really squishy, they're really soft, and I just think from a comfort standpoint, this helmet is way better for my own personal use. So yeah, my definitely favorite helmet is the Team Wendy right now, hands down, over the OpsCore. As much as I enjoyed the OpsCore, this Team Wendy helmet is superior for me. Stoutstanding writes, I love gas blowback rifles, but in the UK they can be a bit rough to use. I've been looking at the Tokyo Marui Recoil Shock 416 for a while now and was wondering what's your opinion on the Recoil Shock series. Well, considering my first airsoft gun, my first real AEG that was my personal use was a Tokyo Marui, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Tokyo Marui guns. In fact, I've got a VSR-10 Tokyo Marui, it's a G-Spec, and I still love it. I mean, Marui makes some fantastic guns. I also have a Glock 18C. But that said, I think the Recoil Shock series are really cool guns. I like they've added that feature. It's something you're seeing in the electric recoil guns by PTS and KWA. Bolt is doing it as well, and there's some other companies as well that are doing, I think Modify even had a drop-in kit to add recoil. But Marui always seems to really pull out all the stops, and their replicas are just so nice. I think the only challenge with the Recoil Shock series with Marui is you're dealing with specific magazines and a lot of special parts that work just with that Shock series gun. I think the magazine thing being the biggest deal. So that said, as long as you're willing to absorb the magazine cost, the higher cost of those and the more difficult to find them, and you've got a place to source the parts from in case something does break, I think it's a good choice for you. Now, if you don't have access to that or you don't have really the budget, I mean, the Recoil shotguns I think are like $500 US and up. I'm sure it's not cheap over there either. So, I mean, if you have the budget, I'm sure you probably have the budget to go ahead and get those mags. But if you don't, you might want to reconsider and look at some other options just because it could be a challenge to track those parts down depending on your local shops and the availability to get the parts. Darkmirror666 writes, hey John, I required a while back a red system of motor and running it in a stock VFC 416 CQB version 2. Which stock gears should I upgrade the gears to, or are stock gears fine? Help is highly appreciated. All right, so this is my rule of thumb when it's time to upgrade the gears. It's typically when you need to really crank up that spring and you're going to a high level, or you're trying to achieve a higher rate of fire, like you're changing up the gear ratio. So in your case, even though you got a really high-end motor, like $100 and something plus motor that's, I mean, monster, the thing's a beast, the system of reds, I wouldn't say go ahead and jump and replace those gears just yet. If you're happy with the rate of fire, everything's set up fine in the gun, leave them in there. I mean, why not? I mean, what's the problem? If they blow up on yeah, okay, then go ahead and make that swap. And I think by blowing up, you're not gonna have them like explode. I mean, if the motor backs out and you chew up a bevel gear, that can happen, but you know, it's kind of rare. And I don't think, as long as you're not putting a bigger spring in there to put a lot more stress on that gear set, it shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, leave them in there until something happens, or if you want to change them. If you're looking for a different ratio or things like that, there's a lot of great gears out there on the market. Do your research, look for ones that will get the result you're looking for, if you're looking for high torque or high rate of fire, and then make the investment. Like I said, there's a lot of fantastic forums out there that can help steer you down the right path for the best gear sets in your gun. But as it stands now, I say keep it in. Well guys, that's it for questions this week, and that means it's time for the video recommendation of the week. And this one is a real steel video, and probably one of the most amazing tactical trainers slash gunfighters you will see on video, and his name is Instructor Zero. This one's on the Funker Tactical website, but you can actually go to Instructor Zero's site. I'll have the link to the channel down in the description below, and the link to the video in question. And this is his quick shooting drill video. He actually has a series of 3 of these, and he does some great hostage training drills. I mean, this guy can manipulate a gun like no other. I mean, he is insane, and watching him inspires me to want to practice and get way better at even using an airsoft gun, or real firearms for that matter, if you guys are into that sort of thing. Definitely worth the watch. Check it out. Set up some targets in a safe area, you know, controlled iPro and all that, and start practicing, because man, this guy really can crank them out, and it's mesmerizing watching the videos. So yeah, check him out. It's Instructor Zero, and this one's over at Funker Tactical, but I also have a link over to Instructor Zero's own channel where you can subscribe to all of his updates. Well guys, that's it for this episode of Airsoftology Mondays. And again, if you want to get your question on the show, it's real simple. Just drop it right down there in the comment section, and I'll go through them, vote up your favorites, and I'll pick the best to get on the next week's show. Also, I'm going to start recording these on Friday, so make sure to get the questions in early in the week. So make sure you get them in when the video goes up on Monday. You got till about Friday. That way I can get the video up and posted much earlier on Mondays for you, instead of recording on a Monday like it is today. Also, if you're going to be around tonight, remember, check out 1000M Chief's channel. I'll be on there with Florida Airsoft Group and him, doing a quick 1-hour live hangout at 7 p.m. Central Time here. And today is the 13th, October 13th. And also stay tuned for my cheater video and some gameplay footage coming up in probably the next week or two. I'll get the cheater video out first. But again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next show. But until then, get out, play some airsoft, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.